Ooh, I like that
Hi,
name.
Alina.
I like that. Hey,
Oh,
Dana.
Dana's
How's
here.
it
Hey, Dana.
going?
Oh,
Oh, there's another Jane.
we got
Heck
another
no.
Jane.
I'm curious to know. Miguel likes to do this a lot when he does the live streams, so I'm gonna copy him a little bit. You guys post where you're from in the chat. I'm curious to
Hey,
know.
Tony. Ooh, Atlanta. You're close to me, Tony. I'm in South Carolina.
Ooh.
Hey, Katie. Yeah, post where you're from.
Let's see, we got
Berlin. Wow.
Berlin in the house. Is it hot over there today, Adrian?
Oh, yeah. It's
Oh
getting
yeah.
super hot. I bet you're cooking in Florida right
Oh,
now.
I'm cooked right now. It's like 95 degrees here in Orlando.
Oh, it's probably hot where Tony is too in Atlanta. It's hot there too.
Yeah.
It's hot in
Oh
Georgia
yeah.
too.
For
Whew.
sure. For
We're all
sure.
in the South.
All
But it's
right.
okay. But 3 years ago, my temperature dysregulation, it would have not been good, you guys. But I'm kicking now. It's good. I can get out in it and I feel great. I am
You
thankful for our AC though.
you know
That's for sure.
what's funny was when I was first starting out as a thriver in the program, one of the tasks Miguel had me do was take a cold shower. And I think it was too much too soon because I went into a flare afterwards.
Mhm.
Um, these days though, all I do is take like medium well to cold. I'm not talking about medium well like it's a steak or something. I'm talking about shower temperature. Like I take about medium temperature to maybe cooler showers in Florida. There's nothing worse than being out in hot weather and then taking a hot shower
No.
afterwards.
Whew. Heck no. But I do
Yeah.
not do cold showers. We know a lot of members and thrivers that swear by cold showers. So if it
Oh
works
yeah.
for you, keep doing it. But
Mhm.
my nervous system did not respond well to that at
Mhm.
all. It worked
Mhm.
for Miguel.
Yeah, it really wakes the system up depending
Yeah.
on where you are in recovery. It
Yeah.
really works for some people. So,
Oh, wait, we got Vermont, Michigan, Marie Grace. Hi, Canada.
oh,
Wow.
Marie Grace is here. Hi, friend. This is great. This is great.
Is still coming in, Junior?
Yeah, a few people coming in here and there. We'll give you guys about a minute or so to keep coming in. Grab a blanket, grab a meal if you're eating. You know, take a drink, make yourself comfortable. We'll have a good time, have some good conversation, you know? And if you don't want to watch, just put your earbuds in if you're doing a chore, cleaning up the house, or just listen to us while you're washing the dishes or something. I won't take offense, I promise.
Just
Okay.
chill.
Yeah.
Chill call.
Hmm.
Man, I do not like this camera. It's so bad.
I know. I
I'm
know.
sorry, guys.
It's okay. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. All right. So, if you guys want to go ahead and post questions, and then we'll kind of sift through them in a minute whilst everybody is here.
Yeah, or we can share wins too.
Yeah,
Start off
we
with
can share some wins, and we'll
any
kind of read them.
wins. Yeah, wins, mind shifts that you guys had.
Hmm.
Read them all.
All right. So we have a question in the Facebook.
Mm.
Can I show it here? Ah, what is this live about? So, for those of us who aren't familiar with us, I'm going to go ahead and just spend a second to introduce us. My name is Junior. I am a coach in the CFS recovery program, and we have Adrianne here as well. We specialize in coaching folks with unexplainable chronic illness. So, chronic fatigue syndrome, long COVID, fibromyalgia. And we mainly work leaning towards um, science and the nervous system, right? And kind of working through that approach here. Um, a lot of what we teach is explaining that our symptoms that we're experiencing are simply just a feedback mechanism from the autonomic nervous system, and working with our bodies, right? in parallel as a partnership and doing things the right way, the balanced way, the healthy way. So we're just coming on here for about an hour and a half to have some good conversation, to give you guys some advice and give you guys some guidance on things that you might feel like you need help with. So that's why these Facebook Lives
Yeah.
exist. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you
Cool.
for being here.
All right. So we can go ahead and what do you think, Adrianne? You want to do some wins? Want to read some wins
Yeah,
here?
let's read some wins
Whoa,
first.
look at this one.
How did you do that?
I think it's me. I have to like hover over the text and then I have to hit show.
Okay. Well, we got Vivian win. I got my mindset back. Awesome, Vivian.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Mindset is huge, right? You want to go up? You want to read the question, Junior?
Yeah. So Vivian says, I was really far in my recovery, nearly functioning normal, but my achiever personality got active again. Some old black and white patterns, maybe, Vivian.
Yeah.
And I triggered a super strong adjustment period. Got anxious, lost my mindset for a while, which is going back into black and white behavior again. Since 25 days now, I have all old symptoms back. Fatigue level is about anywhere from a 5 to a 7. Mostly housebound, can tolerate screens without headache or feeling super wired. Mindset is better now. Is this an adjustment period when I come out at the same level? Or is it a relapse that will take months? Okay. So Vivian, good on you first and foremost. I want to give you credit for doing a great job getting yourself to a place where you were nearly fully functional and back to doing things like working and re-engaging in life's activities. But like we often speak about in the program, and for those of you in the program, you hear us say this all the time, um, that the symptoms are really a byproduct of a polarized black and white personality, right? And not just a personality, but the way we perceive things, our emotions, the way we approach life. The body's asking for balance. That's the feedback mechanism. That's why symptoms exist. It's created through imbalance. So if we got our lives back, Vivian, up into a certain point, and then we started approaching life back in an imbalanced way, I just want you to see this flare up as a feedback mechanism, a signal through symptoms that your body is trying to communicate something to you, and a little something has to be tweaked. A lot of your answer is actually in your question, right? Being going back to old patterns, getting really anxious about the fact that you're doing that and then losing your mindset for a little bit. As long as you can keep your behaviors back on track and back on the rails, you should be okay, right? I don't want you to see this as a setback, right? Because if you're seeing it like that, you're essentially saying every time your nervous system triggers a feedback mechanism and tries to communicate with you that it's a bad thing. But not really. It's more so just an opportunity to become more healthy, become more balanced, to do things a little bit different, to approach life in a little bit more of a regulated way moving forward. So, no, Vivian, to answer your question, um, your autonomic nervous system sending you feedback through symptoms in the form of a flare up, asking you to rebalance out your behaviors is not a bad thing. And it's not an indicator of going backwards. Okay.
Yeah. Awesome, Junior. It's
Mhm.
opportunity for growth, Vivian. Keep going. I know you show up for yourself. I see you active in the Facebook group. Way to go. Way to put in the work. Awesome job.
Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and hide this one.
Yes. What do we got next?
I don't know. What do you think, Adrian? You want to pick? And I'll just put it up on the screen.
I'm scrolling. Seti, waiting for you to wave a magic wand. I know, Seti. I wish we had a magic wand. All right, let's see. Oh, Katie said this is a simple one. Are you two going to the retreat? We are. We are going to the Thriver retreat in Hawaii at the end of August. And I'm very excited because I haven't met any of the coaches. I haven't met Junior in real life. Coach Krista, Miguel. So I'm very excited.
Yes.
We've been working together for going on 2 years now. So it'd be nice
Seems
to
like that, right?
not just seeing you guys, but seeing the Thrivers. That's what honestly, that's what I'm really excited about. But yeah, we're both going.
Well, have fun. It'll be good times if you guys are going to that. It's only going to be over the course of a weekend, but memories will be made for sure. I've never met these guys with the exception of Colin, right? So it'll be interesting to get to experience everybody's height in real life, because in my mind, Adrianne is like 5'8",
I'm
right?
not 5'8". I'm
From the
shorty. I'm 5'2".
From the camera, it's
5'2".
deceiving, but also you guys will get to get the reveal of my true height as well, because there's rumors that I'm anywhere from 5'8" to 6'4", right?
Mm.
So hint, hint, it's actually leaning more towards 5'8". Okay.
The
Excellent.
truth will be revealed.
The truth will be revealed, but you
Yes.
guys will get an opportunity to bask in my beauty. Okay.
And we got Marie Grace, Win. She hiked, kayaked, a drum class, then a mild AP. That's awesome.
All
A lot of
right.
activity for a mild AP. That is definitely worth it. Amazing job, Marie Grace. You're killing it. Seti, here's a question, Junior, if you want to click on that.
Okay, let's see.
If I rest, I get worse. Do you see that one?
Aha. I got it.
Hi, Seti. Thank you for being here. If I rest, I get worse. If I push, I crash. So what do? I struggle the moment I wake up. I hear you. I know that this is really challenging. So a lot of this is talking about what Junior just said, like the black and white behaviors, right? So we have to find that gray area. We have to find that balance. So it's redefining what rest is, because if you're resting and you're getting worse, that's an indicator that you might be physically resting, but your mind's not resting. Also, it could show that you might have actual energy to use and your nervous system doesn't want to be idle. So we actually need to move because movement might work in your favor. But then we have to be very selective on what we do when we do some physical activity, right? And it seems like every time you go and do that and make that decision, you crash. So it's either the activity that's not aligning with the language of your nervous system, meaning we're doing things that maybe aren't top priority or things that we really value. We're doing things out of a place of like, I need to do this or I should do this because I'm feeling a little bit better today and I just need to get all the stuff done today, right? So a lot of it's the mindset when it comes to the push and crash. So for a solution, Seti, maybe reevaluate again what rest means. So make sure when you do pull back, pay attention to where your mindset is. I'm not looking for a positive mindset all the time, right? But something neutral where you're doing an activity, even a cognitive activity that takes your attention. So you're not thinking on your symptoms. Also swatting the thoughts, because when we're idle, that brings opportunity for our brain to really throw a bunch of thoughts at us, right? A lot of negative thoughts, not so positive thoughts. So really watch those negative thoughts, swat those thoughts away so your brain can actually rest as well. And then maybe write down or take account on what kind of activities that you want to do on your better days and have that be your priority when you start to expand. Because your nervous system, if it sees the activity as something that you enjoy, you're not going to probably be in a position to crash as much. If we're doing an activity that has a strong emotional connection to it, say when you crash, it's when you like get up to go for a little bit of a walk or something, and you really, really value walking, or you had a negative experience with walking, there's a really strong emotional connection to that. So it depends on the activity you're doing as well. I know that's like a long-winded answer, but it takes trial and error, Seti, to really find that gray area on what we can do when we're resting so we can actually get rest. And then when we go, what kind of activities to do that are still in our safe zone and capacity zone. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Adrianne.
You're welcome. Great question.
I hide this. There we go. Who we got after Vivian?
Who we got? We got Nicholas there. Hi, Nicholas. Want to
Nicholas.
Vivian's?
Oh, we already got Vivian's.
Oh, we got
Afterwards,
Vivian's. Yep.
what
I
is
didn't know
this?
if she had another one.
Boosie. We got.
Oh, she's got a question. Brittany's got a question for you.
Is it? Sorry if I mispronounced your name, Boosie or Bussy. Says, "Hi, Junior. You keep mentioning that nowadays you live your life pretty much proactively rather than just reacting to it. What exactly do you mean by proactively?" That's a good question. And so, in my experience with recovery, I've noticed that my life feels a lot easier than it did
Mhm.
before I got sick. And the reason why I say it feels easier um, is because you realize that on the other side of recovery, life actually doesn't get easier, but more so you just become stronger as a person, right? More resilience mentally, more resilience emotionally, and how you respond too. So I'm much less impulsive. I'm much less emotional with the things that take place with me. I'm much less reactive in nature. I'm not so quick to, pounce on something when I feel an emotion. So when I say I live my life proactively, instead of like responding in such an explosive way to things that would usually in the past make me really upset, or cause me to, lash out in forms of my behavior, it's a lot more regulated and it's a lot more relaxed. And I stopped questioning a lot of things and I kind of just put a lot of my trust in the universe. So I'll give you like a real life example of what I mean so the answer doesn't come off um, overgeneralized, right? So the other day, or maybe it was the other week, not the other day. It was a little bit ago. Um, I was sitting at a stoplight, right? And young girl not paying attention on her phone, right? She comes up, bumps me pretty hard. My neck goes back. And I come to realize that my car got hit. I didn't realize it initially because when it first happened, I thought that, maybe I was shifting gears the wrong way and my car just jolted. Uh, Kind of the reason why I knew my car got hit is because I looked in the rearview mirror and the girl was like this, right?
Oh.
That's how you know that someone screwed up. So, but here's the thing. And this is what kind of led me to be more trusting with the things that happened to me, even kind of the bad things that happened to me. And it's that somebody told me, someone very wise once told me, like, act as if everyone, whether they do something good or bad to you, as if like they're an angel in disguise, because you never know who's an angel in disguise. So I asked myself the question of what if this girl who just hit me is like an angel in disguise, trying to see if I'm patient, if I've changed, right, in my response. So I get out, I walk up to her, real calm. She's riled up, real emotional. She says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention, blah, 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 whatever." And I say, "Listen, don't worry about the cars. I didn't get hurt or anything like that. Are you okay?" First and foremost. She said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "Okay, good, because that's the most important thing is both of our health and safety. Now let's go ahead and check out the damage." I come around to check out the damage, and I have none, which is wild because she hit me pretty freaking hard, right? Um, Check the damage on her car. She has none. I said, "Man, this is nothing short of a miracle." I go back in my car and I drive off. Now, the reason that that's different from how I would have responded before is because in the past, the old me, I would have gotten so upset. I would have gotten, really reactive emotionally. And then I would have, probably got out of the car and gave the girl a lecture or what have you, in a really immature, dysregulated way, only to come to find out there's no damage on the car. So I just overreacted like that essentially for no reason. Right. So I'm really glad that I was able to react in the way that I did in the moment that I did. Yeah, because I can't tell you how many times I blew up over something that I shouldn't have for no reason, right? So that's what I mean when I say I live life in a really proactive way. There's a lot less friction. There's a lot less fight. I'm more trusting when things happen to me, even including when bad things happen to me. I try to make the best um, out of every situation and try to flip it on its head. So yeah, I hope that helps. Okay.
I'm glad you're okay, Junior.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, I had a classmate that actually taught me this lesson earlier on in life, but I wasn't receptive to it. And his name was Juan. And this was back when I was attending community college. And he drove this like crazy car. One of those cars that you see on MTV Pimp My Ride. And
That's old.
yeah. And it's funny because he actually like customizes cars outside of going to school. Because I asked him one time, I said, "Hey man, so what do you do for work?" Because we got partnered up for a project, and he goes, man, I pimp people's rides, bro. I pimp people's rides. I was like, "You do the thing that they do on MTV?" He's like, "Yeah, but mine's real. MTV's fake." So I go, and he has this crazy car, and we take his car to go to a restaurant to brainstorm what we're gonna do for our class project because we were a pair. And we encountered a situation that was really frustrating with the project. I said, "Oh man, this sucks." And he comes up to me and taps me on the shoulder and he goes, "No, bro. Whenever something gets hard, bro, you got to ask yourself, how are you going to pimp this situation?" You know what I mean? The same way you make cars look cool, how are you going to pimp the situation to make it better in your situation? I never heard nobody say that to me in my life. And now looking back,
I love
he
that.
was right the whole time. And now I think that in my head, how am I gonna pimp this situation? Make it work out in my favor, make the best out of this situation. So
Love
little
that,
funny story
Junior.
for you guys.
Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be proactive. Proactive too is doing things that your future self is going to thank you for too.
Mhm.
So, those reactions, we know when we react that way in a fight or flight or negative way, it's not doing anything good. It's not serving our nervous system, right? And that can put our nervous systems in fight or flight, making us drain our energy. We're not going to feel good the next day if we have plans scheduled, right? So, I always had that in the back of my mind. Also, it's like, it's not worth it. This is not worth my energy. I've worked way, way too hard to preserve this energy. And this small little inconvenience, not a life or death situation, small inconvenience is not worth it. So, responding as well as you can, I know that my future self will thank me because I'm able to show up the next day and continue to show up the next day. And I still, have to apply these concepts every single day. Junior and myself, we show up as a coach every day, right? And I have things going on. I'm human. I'm not immune to all of these things in life. And I choose to respond well or just not even give them any attention, things that are out of my control, because I need the energy to serve you guys. I needed the energy to serve you guys today and to help you guys and to show up. So the small things yesterday, like maybe getting bad meat at the grocery store, because that's what happened to me. I bought meat and it wasn't that good. I could have responded poorly to that, which would have taken a chip off my shoulder, right? Where I could have showed up today a little bit more anxious. So the small things add up. The small things are the big things. So yeah,
Awesome.
I'm a constant work in progress too, you guys. So great question, Bussy.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Adrian. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
Let me go ahead and hide this comment. Thank you guys for putting up with my stories as well. Tony, I see you in the chat saying, "Oh man, here comes Junior showing his old man age." I know I'm getting old, okay?
Yeah, that's from like the early 2000s, maybe
I'm getting
90s. I don't know.
I didn't realize millennials are considered old now. I got told off by a child the other day. No, seriously. Like cargo shorts, right? Number 1, apparently people don't wear those things anymore. I like them. And number 2, the length of my shorts was apparently not cool anymore. You're supposed to wear them because I was taught you wear them at the knee. Yeah. They cut off at the knee. Apparently the cool thing is you got to wear them above the knee. now. So now I got to buy new shorts or else I'm going to get clowned. Above the knee shorts. And they're called like hoochie daddy shorts. So, oh boy.
The Don doesn't wear shorts, Junior.
Whatever.
All right. Who we got? Let's see.
Let's go to Crystal. You want to take this one, Adrianne? There you go.
Yes, let me read it if I can see it. Hi, Crystal. All right. When you go to fragile to anti-fragile, you have to approach recovery on a different way, but do you still hold back a little when symptoms become over a 5? It's a good question. But like, do things more at ease instead of really resting, or how do you react to symptoms coming up in that stage? Thanks and love to see you both. Thank you for the kind words, Crystal. I'm so happy you're here. Yeah. So the answer to your question is yes. And we're talking about, for those of you who are unaware of the symptom scale from 0 to 10, meaning 10 is like off the chain, like you're in the hospital 10, and 0 is completely no symptoms. So if you're over a 5, typically like 5, 6, 7 territory, still want you to be active, Crystal, but about 50% of your capacity on a good day, maybe like 50%, 75%. But once you start getting into that like 8, 9, 10 territory, then I kind of make the decision and the choice to pull back as much as you can that day and rest. But yeah, if you're in the 5, 6, 7 territory, keep going, slow down your pace. Your answer was correct. Slow down the pace. Also, be mindful of the activities that you choose to do that day. So I'd swap my activities. I knew that walking took a lot out of me because I had an emotional connection to walking. So I had to be really mindful of that a lot of my energy was taken up when I walked. So if I was above a 5, I swapped that activity with just doing like shuffling around my apartment and just doing a little bit more movement around there instead of getting outside that day. So swapping activities is a good idea as well. But yeah, answer is yes. Slow down, but still go. Pull it back. Yeah, but in 8, 9, 10 territory, you guys on here, pull back as much as you can and use that adjustment period or that time as like a mini vacation as much as you can. Don't push yourself through that, but definitely rest. Okay. Yeah.
Excellent.
And it changes day to day too. I mean, my scale level, like it was fluctuating from like a 4 to a 6, sometimes all the way to an 8, back down to a 4. It was all over the place every single day. So I didn't adjust it like every second, but I did check in with myself about like 4 to 5 times a day and ask myself, like, how am I feeling right now? Yeah, I'm over a 5. So let me stay a little bit active today, but let me take it at a slower pace. If I felt under a 5, then I do a little bit more activity at that time during the day. Yeah. Ebbing and flowing through my day. So.
Awesome. Thank you, Adrianne.
Thank you, Crystal. Yeah, I hope that helped.
You know what I just realized?
What?
I think this Facebook Live was supposed to start at 12:30 and not 12.
I think it said noon.
Really? I have it on my calendar for 12:30 to 2.
From 12:30 to 2? Oh, I had noon. I think I had noon to 2.
Oh, okay. That's cool. I don't mind hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, I had noon to 2. Oh, it is 12:30 to 2. Oh, well, we got a little bit more time because we had some tech issues in the beginning, so it all works out.
Yeah, you had some tech stuff, so this actually does work really great. Let's see here. I'm gonna scroll down. Ooh, this one might be good for you too, Adrianne. Look at this one, Barbara.
What you got? Oh, Barbara. Hey, Barbara. All right. Any tips on increasing exercising? I get extreme sleepiness after exercising with more intense exercise. So yes, Barbara, I'm so happy you're here. I really recommend you choosing an exercise that you want to do first, right? Because there's a lot out there that we see. We think we need to be able to run first or go lift weights, right? Or even do like a certain sport because we've seen somebody else in recovery do that activity and we want to do the same thing. So we can say we exercise, so we can say that we're recovered, right? So it's very important to do what you want to do and refer back to your lifestyle maybe before you got sick of what you really loved when you exercise. Like for me, I love to walk and I love to run. So that was the first thing that I worked on. And I had to pace my way up to that, Barbara. So I'd start just with a small pacing plan for whatever exercise that you choose. There's so many. I know I had Miguel at the time, but I got on YouTube almost every day. There's so many good exercise videos on there, short videos, like 5-minute videos, 2-minute videos. I started really, really small, even stretching videos, and I had to be consistent with that. So I'd start really small for about 2 to 3 days a week for about a month. And then I increased the time I was doing during the week. So like 4 days a week, then 5 days a week. But it just depends on your goals. I know that's kind of like a blanket answer. But I think the most important thing is to do what you want to do. Because if we start doing an exercise that we really don't align with and we're forcing ourselves to do, it's going to keep that dysregulation and we're not going to see the results that we want. But whatever you choose, start slow. And I do recommend YouTube, great videos on there. And if you get extreme sleepiness after exercise, that's going to happen. So you're going to get symptoms because it's activity that you're doing, energy that you're using, and our nervous systems want to keep us safe. So it sees that as a threat. It's not going to like that at first. So we're just going to have to respond well when we start to get those symptoms. So if it's post-exertional malaise, sleepiness, I mean, any symptom that you get while exercising or after exercising, the only solution for that to rewire is responding well in the moment. And that looks different. So like the next day, if you get sleepy after exercise, maybe having like 2 days between your exercise days just to recharge instead of doing it every single day. That probably won't be like the best answer for you at that time. So yeah, just be mindful of the symptom, respond well, but consistency is key. Consistency of doing what you enjoy doing, not that you feel like you need to do.
Awesome. Thank you, Adrianne. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Let me go up to the comments
We
again.
could talk about exercise probably forever, couldn't we, Junior?
You can. I can't.
I can't. I wish I had. I want everybody here. I want to see your faces so I can ask you some more personal questions because I know these are generalized responses, but it just depends on like where you are with your capacity with exercise, what you like to do, what's your access to equipment or a gym or even walking outside that you feel safe, right? So it's a multifaceted approach when it comes to expanding exercise. So
thank you, Adrianne. Adrianne's the exercise expert. Any questions about expanding, going to the gym and stuff like that? She's your girl. I exercised like a pregnant woman. Okay. So I'd be going in there. I'll do like maybe 15, 20 push-ups. I'll do like 10 pull-ups. I'll do like maybe 30 sit-ups or something like that. I'll do the arms like 2 sets of like 15. Yeah, I'll do like 15 times. And the weight is probably like 25, 30 pounds. That's it.
That's it. That's quite a bit.
And then that's it. And I do that like 2 times a week. And I don't do it to like, to look good or anything. I just don't want to become an unhealthy weight to where I look like the Mucinex booger. If you guys know who that is. Yeah. So he's a little bit chunky,
you guys.
you know what I'm saying? So that's it for me. That's as far as my exercise goes. So Adrianne got the exercise.
And
question.
be patient for everybody here. And Barbara, just be patient because I was very stubborn. I had an ego when it came to exercise. Before I got sick, I mean, I was lifting heavy weights and working out like a maniac, and everything, turned upside down in a night. So I was just so impatient. I had so much urgency to get back to that level of intense exercise. And it's very important just to be patient and to pace yourself. Because all of this is about making your nervous system feel safe too, right? So we don't want to like do any knee-jerk reactions and do too much, Barbara, but you're at a stage, I know, where you're a little bit more intuitive with your body now and can trust how much is enough. But if you want to increase just little at a time, it's trial and error, okay? But it does take time. It took about 1.5 years for me to get back to my baseline of working out before I got sick. So I told myself I was recovered before that, but when it comes to physical activity, especially if you have a pretty high bar with physical activity, and expectations of yourself, it can take a little bit more time. So it's important to be realistic about conditioning your body up from it being idle for so long. So
Excellent.
take some time.
Awesome, Adrian.
Yeah, be patient.
All right. We got another question by Big Tony Macaroni. Let's see what we got here. So my question is, I always feel hungry. Even though I've eaten enough food, it seems like I'm always hungry. I mean, when I get hungrier, I get more anxious. Why is that? Now, the reason for this taking place, a little bit on the scientific level, is because your body is actually behaving in a really black and white way in terms of your experience of how you feel your blood sugar is going. And in regards to blood sugar, the two hormones that are in charge of it are probably behaving in a really black and white way as well, because you have insulin that downregulates and you have glucagon that upregulates. And the thing is, if the body responds in this really black and white way, then your experience of hunger will also reflect that as well, which is why oftentimes when we're okay and we're not that hungry, then we're okay. But it switches to being really hungry, and if I don't eat anything in the next 5 seconds, I feel like I'm going to die. It's because it's either you're satiated or you're starving. There's, like, no middle. There's no gray zone there, and the gray zone happens because your nervous system is so dysregulated. So, that's the reason why that's taking place, is when you get hungry, because your nervous system is dysregulated, your body's going to alert you a danger signal by also raising your cortisol and adrenaline as well, which is why as you start feeling like if I don't eat anything in the next 5 seconds, I'm going to die, your adrenaline's actually going through your body too, because perceptually your brain sees that as a dire situation, which is why a lot of us can be totally fine and then flip it to if I don't eat right away, and then you start to have panic attacks and you start trembling and you start. That's why that takes place. Now, how you actually want to resolve that is being more gray with our behaviors in terms of eating. In the beginning, you want to really, really support your physical body, and how you want to do it is if your body is calling for food or calling for a snack every hour or two, you want to listen to your body and eat a little something, right? Eat a little snack, eat a little food, maybe every hour or two. And when it comes to the emotions towards always being hungry or having that experience of the blood sugar drop, try not to be too scared of it. Understanding that you just ate an hour ago, you're probably not going to die, right? You're most likely going to be fine because you just satiated yourself an hour ago, right? But if your body's calling for food every hour or two, um, that's fine. If you can handle, carbs and slow digesting fats, that's something that I would recommend as well. Leaning towards more junkier foods, I've found doesn't really work. It's not as effective because these foods burn quick. That's the thing, especially if it has to do with processed sugar. Okay. So that would be my advice there to sum up my answer is don't worry about the experience of this happening. It's just a byproduct of your nervous system being dysregulated. Don't be scared of it. Don't worry about it. And try to just observe the anxiety when it kicks in without the emotions and just eat if your body is telling you that you need to eat. Over time, it'll regulate out and you'll have longer periods where you don't have to eat. And then eventually you'll just graduate into being regular people hungry, and it'll just start feeling hunger over time, more hungrier, then you get a stomach ache. you know that takes time. I've experienced that same exact thing, so I hope that helps, Tony. Okay.
Thank you, Junior. I agree. I wouldn't mess, and this is for everybody here too that has had thoughts on, like, should I fast? Should I diet right now? Should I cut back on foods? when you have a hypersensitive nervous system, it's important to not focus on that right now. Focus on other things in your recovery and just know that a lot of that is going to fix itself because it is a symptom of a dysregulated nervous system. But if we try to fix something and we switch up our diet, it's going to send another danger signal because our nervous system does not like change. So if we're messing with our diets and our patterns, it's going to throw your nervous system for a loop. And we need that energy right now to recover. So just know that, Tony, that will, just like Junior said, it will start to fix itself. And then once your nervous system's more regulated, if you're like, yeah, I'm not where I want to be right now, I want to be able to get through the day without having to eat all the time, then you can start restricting a little bit to retrain your brain when it's appropriate to feel hungry. But I wouldn't make that a priority right now. I tried it. I did all the diet stuff and the fasting, and I felt like I was hungry all the time. And then I went through phases where I wasn't hungry and I lost like 20 pounds. But a lot of my focus went into that because it was really bothering me, right? It was bothering me. So I wanted to fix it, but it was just making things worse. So just letting it be, eating when you want to eat. So it'll get better. Yep.
It will. Thank you, Adrianne.
Yeah, thank you, Junior.
Okay. Next one is Jane. Oh, this is a COVID question. Hi, Junior. My question is for you. I got COVID again for the second time. I know you said to respond well to symptoms, which I have been. Oh, great. Did you level up after having COVID? Every single time. Every single time I've gotten COVID, I've made a big level up.
Yeah.
The top two things that get people in trouble when they get COVID are these things. So I'm going to tell you so you don't do them. Right? Is the fear of COVID, the fear of the virus, and then number two, the perception, the emotion, or the belief that getting the virus will make you go backwards. I literally practice the exact opposite. I am not afraid of COVID. I know it still exists out there and it will continue to exist for however long to be determined, right? So I'm no longer afraid of getting COVID. That doesn't mean that I don't take necessary precautions when I'm traveling, because of course I do. Because at the end of the day, whilst I'm not afraid of it, nobody wants to get sick, right? But if I do get sick, I'm not afraid of it. And it doesn't really turn me upside down emotionally. And then number two, I never come to the assumption or the conclusion that, oh, if I get this, it's going to halt or stop my progress and make me go backwards. It will if you believe it, though. That's the thing. And that's why I never choose to engage or go down those pathways or those ways of thinking of, if I get this virus, I will go backwards or I will relapse. And because of that, because of how I perceived it, I always move forward. Because the one thing that we're taught, Adrianne, shout out Dr. DeMartini, is whenever you get a virus, whenever you get sick, whenever you flare up, whenever you have a flare up of symptoms, you can get sick towards further illness or away from illness. You can flare up towards illness and you can flare up away from illness, completely depending on your perception of the situation emotionally. Okay? So, hope that helps. There we go. Which one you want to do, Adrianne?
Let's do Bram.
Bram.
Let me just make sure this is the next one. I think so. Bram, hi. I'm so happy you're here. I got a question. I have been progressively building up my activities and tolerance. It's awesome. I even went on a snowboarding vacation. What? That's incredible. Woof. I've snowboarded once in my life, and I probably was the sorest I've ever been. I couldn't even move my legs. So shout out. You're brave. Yeah, it takes so much stability muscles. It's crazy. So awesome, Graham. That's a huge win. But on the highway, on the way back, we got hit by another car. Oh my gosh. So, I'm sorry. Now I have normal whiplash symptoms, but I also notice a lot of CFS symptoms coming back. Trembling, feeling of being on edge. Is this a sign that my basis wasn't good enough, or is this normal? Bram, it's your baseline is good enough. You're just a human going through something that was a little bit traumatic. It shook your nervous system because it was actually, you have to think though, your nervous system is working appropriately right now. There's nothing abnormal about what's happening because you are actually in a little bit more of a real threat, right? Not a perceived threat. So it's doing its job. So it's very normal that you've gotten shaken up from this. And it all depends on too, like, how's the severity. I know, I'm not talking to you right now, so I kind of have more questions, but depending on the severity of the symptoms, because if your baseline, your capacity there wasn't a lot of wiggle room, and then you had this other traumatic experience on top of it, even maybe at the time you didn't consciously perceive it that way, your body got shooken up subconsciously as well. So it depends on where you were when this happened. And if you were snowboarding, seems like your capacity was pretty good. So just know that completely normal. You're going to be able to come back from this fairly quickly. Just respond as well as you can to these symptoms, because it really doesn't matter the source, right? What caused these symptoms? It is your nervous system behaving right now. These are the symptoms you're feeling at the moment. So we have to respond as well as we can to them. Okay, so keep moving forward. You'll actually level up from this. This is an opportunity for growth, and kind of like Junior talked about with DeMartini, we've done a lot of work on like how to handle trauma. A lot of our trauma is not even like conscious, right? A lot of it's subconscious. So even like small little fender benders or accidents like that, those can get stored in our brain as more of a negative experience. So maybe it's important right now for you to reflect on this and just say, hey, I'm grateful that you probably have, but I'm grateful that I'm okay. And this is actually an opportunity to level up. So this kind of brought some symptoms to the surface so I can do a little bit more work on my nervous system right now. And then your brain will start to see that event as not as traumatic anymore, which is going to help your symptoms as well. So I'm happy to hear you're okay, Bram. An awesome win. Yep. But very normal.
Awesome. Thank you, Adrianne. I'm glad to hear that you're
With
okay.
you, Junior. You were just in that car accident a little bit, right?
Yeah. Car accidents are never fun. Absolutely.
No. And see, Junior, you probably didn't get symptoms because your nervous system's a little bit more regulated. But if Junior got into that small little accident with more of dysregulated nervous system, he would probably be feeling symptoms right now. So it's very, very normal, but it's a very good sign that you were snowboarding like that same day. So
Yeah. And I can tell, just based off your question, how the reactions were different, Bram, as well. Because when I got hit, because I didn't get hit pretty hard, and I didn't experience any whiplash, there was very little anxiety or fear in the heat of the moment in that situation, right? But for you, the symptoms that came back for you, I want you to pay attention, specifically trembling, feeling on edge. Um, these are symptoms of heightened anxiety and a lot of fear. So you kind of want to ask yourself, what are the emotions that you experienced in the heat of the moment of that car accident as well? If they were really heightened in terms of fear and anxiety, that riles your nervous system in that certain direction. Your nervous system is just a feedback mechanism trying to send you symptoms back, saying, hey, you practice fear and anxiety in a really extreme way. Now let's try and balance that out. I'm going to give you symptoms that allow you to feel this. Let's see how you respond to this. Right? So I hope that makes sense. Let's go to Nicholas. Let's see.
Is that Nicholas?
Yeah. Nicholas, you are my thriver in Recovery Jumpstart as well. You actually asked me this question the other day, so maybe you're looking to see Adrianne's perspective. So I'll have you answer that, Adrianne. He asks, how many weeks can last in a big adjustment period? Junior, as you know, I'm in week 6, responding well since the beginning, but my symptoms don't increase. Is it normal not getting better little by little in a bigger adjustment period? Every time for me, it was a roller coaster until the end.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's normal. 2 months adjustment periods, we've seen that. Junior, you were in a couple of 2-month adjustment periods. Yeah. So, Nicholas, this is normal. However, once we get to that 2-month mark, we really need to regroup. I know you're at 6 weeks, but it's important to start regrouping and seeing what we can switch up. Something needs to change if we're going into a 2-month mark, right? And usually it's our response. Sometimes it's that we need to nudge ourselves a little bit as well when we hit that 2-month mark. So I don't know your exact situation, but know that it is normal and it's an opportunity for growth. These bigger ones are a bigger opportunity for growth. And I know they're challenging and uncomfortable, but sometimes we just have to ride the wave, keep that hope up too, and that belief that this is going to end. It's ended before. It's been a roller coaster before. This isn't my first rodeo. So I have confidence that I can get through this. So really keep that mindset sharp. But 2 months is normal. It's normal.
For some people, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. I had some too in the very beginning. And they were really tough. I mean, I'm telling you, after the 2-week mark, it got tough for me. So going into like the third week, fourth week, I'm telling you, we are like the strongest people I know, Nicholas. So just hang in there. You're going to come out of this. You're going to come out of it stronger and you're going to level up. So, yeah.
All right. Check out who we got here sharing a win.
Louise. Oh, Louise. Let's see. Wins. Retaining a lot more information. That's awesome. Understanding what the next part of my recovery is and taking steps for that. Having a good support network. So good to see you both. Thank you, Louise. It's always so great to see you. I'm so happy you're here. Great job. Louise is another thriver who's been putting in the work. She was in Recovery Academy for some time. And then she graduated from that, but you're still not giving up on yourself. You're putting in the work. You're leveling up every single week, Louise. So great job. Mindset's awesome. Awesome.
There's a good chunk of people that are in this Facebook Live, Adrianne, that have gone through the program, have worked with us personally, are just coming back, sharing how well they're doing. Really, like a lot of this feels like a reunion, to be honest. So
I love it. And I love it. And I love to see you putting your health first because there's a lot of questions on like, what does recovery mean? And honestly, you guys, I'm not saying this to scare anybody because recovery is getting the symptoms to go away, right? That is real. But recovery just doesn't end. There's just so many levels. It turns into recovery with CFS and getting the symptoms to go away and feeling better, right? And then it turns into responding well to life and recovery with life and being able to be more resilient to things that are out of our control that happen in our lives that we face. So like I see, like you said, thrivers here, like Louise and Barbara and Marie Grace, just, leveling up in life. And it's very important because this journey it never ends. So, and it also speaks volumes that you guys enjoy this community too. And you feel safe in this community, and are willing to have a growth mindset and learn from people who are just like one step ahead of you, right? Because this is not just about symptoms. It's about life lessons and a thriving nervous system so you can adapt to things in your life moving forward. And these tools you can carry with you throughout your whole life. And I never thought this, I think I've said this on the live before, but when I came into this program with Miguel back in 2021, I came in with a mindset like, I want my own life back and I want these symptoms to go away. Like little did I know that this was going to be a journey and an exciting one, even though you might not feel that right now, but a lifelong transformation that never ends. And you want to continue to learn and more about yourself and the way you behave and your habits so you can be the best version of yourself and take your power back. So again, it just speaks volumes for all of you guys to keep showing up for yourself day in and day out. Awesome. I admire all of you.
Thank you, Adrianne. I really appreciate that. I've asked this question even since before I got sick, kind of wondering about what the purpose of my life is. And, because everybody has a different definition of, what the purpose of one's life is. Was I born to do something? Was I predestined to do something? Do I make my own destiny? Is it like a clear palette that I get to just do whatever I want? Like, what is the purpose of all this? And you come to realize it's not as detailed as you think. And the purpose of my life at least, is something that I do every day, which is just to be better every single day, right? Um, and that doesn't stop until your time is up, really. So if you can keep your purpose just simply as generalized as that, right? Just try to be a better person every single day. Then it doesn't matter what you do, whether you're an actor, whether you're a coach, a doctor, or just a person who has no job, living life, going through recovery. If that's the case, technically, we all have the same purpose, is just to be better every single day. And that means choosing to be more balanced, choosing to be more regulated, choosing to be less reactive, choosing to be more mature, um, trying to be more of an adult, changing our behaviors, the way we approach things, the way we act, how we speak to people, how we treat people, how we perceive people, what's fair, what's not, you know, it's all a work in progress. And I think I can speak for everybody here when I say that we're all a work in progress, right? Because in the beginning, when I started the program, I didn't know what I was getting into. And a lot of people who join our program don't know what they're getting into. They think that they're just coming in to heal their physical symptoms. But the definition of healing has changed for me. When someone tells me they've healed from chronic illness like CFS, long COVID, or fibromyalgia, I know it's much, much deeper than the physical experience of the illness. Now, when I think of it, when I talk to a client for the first time versus me having a conversation with someone for the last time, it's like I'm talking to a completely different person. So when someone tells me they've healed, I know they did the work in all areas of their life. They healed emotionally, behaviorally, spiritually, mentally, physically. They're more balanced. Um, yeah. So that's a totally different definition of healing, and we're continuing to heal as a community, as humanity in general too. So just a little bit of a tidbit there to kind of add on to what Adrianne was saying is that it's a generalized thing, but it's also really profound as well. If you're going to heal, if you're going to embark on a healing journey, don't just focus on your symptoms. You might as well try and heal all of it, little by little, every single day. And you might not get to where you fully want to um, when your story ends. But the fact that you were able to just completely do your best every single day and say that you did your best is good enough. Because where I want to be is nirvana. I'm probably not going to get there this lifetime, but I work every single day this lifetime and probably the next lifetime and the one after that to make sure that I do get there one day. But we're all growing together. You know, we're all one big collective energy just spread out into different uh, physical forms, just trying to communicate with one another, trying to figure this whole thing out. Right. So, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing to experience. Okay.
Beautifully said, Junior. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. It's definitely a journey of self-discovery, that's for sure. When we say like Junior 2.0, Adrianne 2.0, and all of you guys 2.0, put a 2.0 at the end, it's you becoming closer to who you are and your authentic self, because that's where healing is. That's where health lies.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, said that beautifully, Junior. Thank you.
Thanks, Adrianne. Ooh, here's the next one. We got one from Faye. Faye asks, to recover, should we also address past traumas with a therapist as well as addressing the autonomic nervous system symptoms? I would say yes, but it has its time and place. If you're doing it too early, it's inappropriate and will actually make you worse, depending on how deep the trauma is. I kind of want you to think of a ratio like this. When it comes to trauma, especially deep rooted ones, the more you recover, the deeper you're allowed to go. Not the other way around, where the deeper you're in the trenches of autonomic nervous system dysregulation and chronic illness, the deeper you have to start out when it comes to your trauma. Actually, it's the complete opposite. You want to deal with surface level trauma if you're really, really deep in the trenches. The more you recover, the deeper you can go with your trauma.
Mhm.
I want you to think of it like that. Okay.
Who we got? Let's see.
Oh, God's will asked to pimp a situation. Just hearing that for the first time. I mean, a lot of things make sense now when he said that. I didn't understand why a lot of things meant a lot of things. This is also one of the reasons why Kendrick, which is one of my favorite artists, named one of his albums "To Pimp a Butterfly." I didn't realize that's like what that meant because I didn't understand. You know?
Yeah, never heard of that.
Yeah. Let's see here. Gloria has a question. There you go, Adrianne, if you want to read that.
Gloria. Hi, Gloria. Happy you're here. All right. Is it possible to advance my physical abilities if I'm studying full time? Yes. And I noticed that I don't have the energy to expand my physical abilities. And I don't know how to approach studying less because I put a lot of pressure on myself in my future. And I'm a perfectionist. Any comments would be helpful. Thanks, guys. Great question, Gloria. Yes, it is possible to advance your physical abilities if you're studying full time, but it's a game of balance, right? So you're aware, you've said it here in your question, that you notice that you don't have much energy to use towards physical capacity because you're using the majority of your energy towards the cognitive ability. Now, when we're feeling like all of our energy is being used towards something, it's usually because there is there's unbalance. There's an unbalance there. And what I mean by that, there's something that's not vibing with your nervous system. And I know pretty confident that you just hit it on the head. And it's your perception on how you view these things, like being perfectionist, like these personality traits, right? These can take it. Usually perfectionism comes from a place of fear. It comes from a place of fearing that we're not going to accomplish what we want to accomplish, fear of what others are going to think about us if we don't accomplish what they want us to accomplish or that we want to accomplish, right? Fear of letting ourselves down, fear of disappointment if we don't meet our high expectations that we set for ourselves. So this kind of trait comes from a place of fear. And anything that comes from a place of fear is running that fight or flight, which is draining your energy. So the first place I'd like you to look is where exactly what you've pinpointed is letting go of that a little bit, letting go and being okay with not being perfect. And I know that's a lot to ask when we've had this personality trait for so long. And you can probably start to connect some of the dots that these are the kind of traits that have been present in our lives for a very long time. And then it started to turn into physical symptoms. But these usually are at the root cause of our dysregulation. So it's little by little, 1% every single day of when you find yourself doing an activity like studying. If it's coming from an intention of like pressure, you feel like you need to be perfect, I want you to take a step back, take a breath, and say, it's okay. I'm doing the best that I can do, and it's all right. I'm not going to kill myself to be perfect today because I'm a human being. I'm not a human doing. And really having that self-love for yourself as well. So 1% better every single day working on this perfectionism, because that is a big energy drainer, Gloria. I would really like for you to see you work a little bit on that before we add the physical activity, because it sounds like your stress threshold is a little bit full. If you're going to do some physical activity, it feels like you're tipping over the edge. So we don't want to add that just yet until we can give your nervous system a little bit of breathing room when it comes to your cognitive activity. Okay. So if you can work on that just 1% every single day, you are going to feel a shift. You're going to feel like you have a little bit more energy to work with during the day. And then you can put that towards a small physical activity of your choice and something that you value. It's all a balancing act.
Awesome. Thank you, Adrianne. Appreciate it. Let's go to, actually, before we go to questions, let me just highlight some cool comments that we see, because we highlight wins and stuff, but some people, they really post some cool nuggets in here. Some comments too.
Yeah, read them.
We got Jane in the house. There you go. Oh, she misses us.
Oh, thank you, Jane.
Shout out Jane as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take a look. Oh, here's Lewis. She said, "Thank you, Adrianne."
Thanks, Louise.
We got Clemmy in the house. Hey, how are you? How are you? Here's Barbara. This group
Sure is, Barbara.
like,
I've never met a group that understands us like this group. It's really special group.
yeah, absolutely. Look at this one. My life's purpose is to be myself and show up authentically every single day.
That is golden nugget, Junior.
That is a golden nugget. I really like that one because Adrianne, you preach this a lot, right? You could just straight up be an authenticity coach if you wanted to be.
Yeah, I it's hard though because I don't want to make it too overcomplicated because when I came into this program, I wasn't even thinking about this. This is why you guys are blowing me away right now. I was just like, me and Chris said we joke, we're like drooling in the corner. I'm like, I just want these symptoms to go away. What my brain is doing this to me. Like I was not on the level you guys are on right now. But looking back in hindsight and everything I've learned as a coach and talking to hundreds of you guys, there's patterns that the closer we are to our authentic self and our values, the more regulated our nervous system is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I 100% believe that because looking in hindsight, that is how I recovered. Of course, through this program, responding well to symptoms was massive for me, but also responding well to symptoms whilst doing activities that I wanted to do because I was so used to saying yes to crap in my life that I didn't want to do, being around people that I really genuinely didn't want to be around. I was masking all the time. And I noticed that I wasn't living the way I want to live. I was not being my authentic self out of fear, of what people would think about me. Would they judge me? Right. So I was living and I didn't know these types of behaviors and personality traits. I just thought that's who I was. I never knew it was coming from a place of fear. And once I really realized that, I started to align my actions with high priority things that only came from a place of the things I wanted to do, which was tough. It was a challenge because that means I had to face that fear of, I'm going to do what I want to do, regardless if this person's going to judge me. I'm going to say what I want to say, regardless if this person doesn't agree with me or maybe doesn't want to be in my life anymore. Right. So there were hard things to face. But the more I worked on that, the more healthy I became from the inside out. And it's an ongoing process, Arlene. So just for you to be aware of this in your journey right now is massive. Like I'm actually blown away by this golden nugget, all of you guys. But yeah, I really think this is a big key for sure. And it could sound really woo-woo. If somebody was to tell me this before, I would have been like, that's why sometimes I hesitate to talk about this, but you guys are just so freaking smart. Like you guys get it. But if somebody was to tell me this, like when I was in the thick of it, I would have been like, I'm not working with you. Like you sound whack. Like I know, like this is a physical issue here. Like this isn't something because I'm not being in my authentic self. What are you talking about? So that's why sometimes I hesitate, but we start to titrate it into this program. And we see massive changes when we start to get the thrivers aligned with their goals and closer to their authentic selves and closer to self-love too. Because I think a lot of our issues come from fear of not wanting to be or not showing who we really are, which comes from a place of where we're not really trusting if we trust ourselves, like if we really love who we are completely to really show that to the world. So I think it's a definitely a combination of all those things. I know it is because I live and I breathe it and I 100% believe it. So yeah.
That was an incredible golden nugget there, Adrianne, as well as thank you, Arlene, for sparking this discussion of authenticity. You know, as coaches, we see the more inauthentic someone is, that's actually considered a danger response. by the nervous system, right? It's actually a safety response to be more authentic. So watch yourself. If you find yourself masking a lot, pay attention to if your body language, if your behaviors don't match your internal intent. There's a lot of people sit here can smile and put on a face, but if your smile doesn't match your internal resentment that you're putting on at the same time, um, you got polarity. You got a black and white situation here. You got a nervous system who thinks that it's in danger. An authentic way to live is if your face matches how you feel inside as well. Do you guys notice I don't smile 100% all the time on these calls? It's because I don't feel like it all the time.
Mhm.
Like if I'm sitting up here and I'm trying to smile, I'm putting on a thing, that's inauthentic because I don't feel like that all the time, right? So if you catch yourself smiling, but you're hating on the inside,
Oh,
that's polarity.
tension. That is
Yeah.
tension.
Yeah, it's a lot of tension. It's a lot of fakeness. It's a lot of masking. You do that for an
I live
extended period of time, not good.
I live my life like that.
Yeah.
I definitely did. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys, but I thought it was normal because the people around me were living their lives like that. I didn't know you could live your life a different way until
Mhm.
I got sick. And that's why I can look back at all of this and there's just so much gratitude because I know without a doubt I'd still be living my life like that. And I could keep going to the gym and look aesthetically good, and eat the diet. But you guys, inside my body was screaming at me. Inside I was not healthy. And then what would have happened down the road is I could have probably gotten diagnosed with something that is more severe. And then I would have probably been like, how the heck did that happen? What is going on? I eat healthy, I go to the gym, because this stuff that we're talking about here is more impactful than any diet, any exercise.
Mhm. Thank you, Adrian. That's a golden nugget in itself right there is, you know, I just brought up the point of if your smile doesn't match how you feel inside, but what if your lifestyle
Oh,
doesn't match with how you feel inside? Because exercising is a healthy way of doing things. Eating clean is a healthy way of doing things. But what if you're exercising, but emotionally and mentally you're an unhealthy person? That creates polarity because you're living a certain lifestyle physically, and then you're thinking a totally different way internally. That creates that separation, that tension right there as well. So
right, Junior.
it
Right.
goes
I truly
quite deep.
believe that it's a big contributor to most illnesses.
Mhm. So, there's that gray area as well. Like,
Mhm.
you find some of us are, uh, a little bit too loose to the point where we get in trouble, but there's a lot of you guys in this call that care too much and need to loosen up. Have you guys ever noticed, like, back when we were in school, whether it was elementary, middle, high school, or even college, on the last week of school where people were already in vacation mode and we were about to go on summer break for 3 weeks, and all of a sudden you notice all the shy kids start speaking up and being more social and letting their true personalities come out and being a bit more authentic. Why do you think that is? Because they don't care anymore, because this is the last week of school. That's why. Right? But what does that tell you about the whole rest of the year? Is that they spent their whole year pretty much leading all the way up until the last week caring too much about what people thought, and they didn't allow their true authentic selves to come out. And then the last week of school comes around, you want to be a blabbermouth, right? And you want to show who you really are, right? So
That's right, Junior. I love that analogy.
that was me. That's
True.
why in the last week of school, I was goofy. I was more talkative. I was more light spirited. I was in a good mood. Because I knew soon I didn't have to talk to those people anymore.
I mean, it's the same thing with, I'd say I'm more of an introvert than an extrovert, but then if I'm around the right people, I'm not an introvert, right?
Exactly.
But the majority of my life, I put myself around, I'd surround myself with people where I would go and do a social activity and I would need like a week to recharge. Like I'd be like,
Mm,
I gotta recharge my battery. Like this is not fun at all because I genuinely didn't want to go. Like I should just said, I don't want to hang out with you. I don't want to go. Right. But I didn't because out of fear of them not liking me or
judging
being
you.
mad at me. Right. But then again, I hang out with people who energize me. And I'm like, what? Though it's the questions that you ask yourself. Why? It's not the person, it's not the environment. Why? It's because my perception of that person and that thing brings me more safety. And these things that are draining my energy, or these people that are draining my energy, there's some negative resentment, perception, something is there, and it's not serving me. So I either need to change my perception on a situation or completely remove myself and put up boundaries. There's only two options here. And yeah, these are the things that are the life lessons that I've learned that I'm implementing in my days every single day. Just
So
to
then
keep my nervous system.
the question becomes, Adrianne, are you actually an introvert, or did you just hang around the wrong people that didn't make you feel authentic? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. What
So,
you just said, exactly. Yeah.
mhm,
I was just not surrounded by, but this is the thing too. I say that I'm like, but it's not the people, right? And it's not the
mhm,
externals. It's my perception on that,
mhm,
or it's my inability to accept their values, right? And the way they're
right,
behaving, which is sometimes a me problem, right? It's either I fix that problem, or I'm like, I accept their values. I accept their behavior. They're human. I'm not expecting them to live in my values all the time. I'll get along with them. But I didn't
mhm,
have that personality. I was very stubborn. Like
mhm,
it was either my way or the highway.
mhm,
So either I could work on that, or I could just say it's not worth it to me. That's not worth
right,
it's not worth my energy. I'm gonna cut these people out, or this activity, or this relationship, right? And these are hard decisions. These are the hard ones that we've learned too, that we have, the thrivers who are in the 6 month to 12-month programs, in the platinum program or the
mhm,
jumpstart program. They go through these phases where they're starting to understand that, oh, it's like either a partner in my life, or a friend in my life, or my job, my career. These things are keeping my nervous system dysregulated. What do I do? And
mhm,
between the coaches here, we've been through it all. I quit my job at 15 years almost being in the same career. I didn't know what the frick I was going to do. I was terrified before I came as a coach to do this with you guys. And it's taking that leap of faith. But I knew that job was dysregulating my nervous system. And if I didn't get out, I would probably relapse.
mm,
And same with friendships, same with family, things
yeah,
with my family. So, we've all been through it. We're here to help you guys navigate this. We're not perfect. We don't know everything, but we've sure
mhm,
been through it.
yeah, and I like
Sometimes
what
I
you
forget.
said.
Sometimes I forget. Sometimes I
Yeah,
forget like that. I mean, this was 3 years ago, right, that I got sick. But you guys always, like, I get a little light bulb moment and I go back. It's like my mind time travels back. And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like I remember how that felt." But I can tell that my brain wants to forget this. It wants
mm,
to forget, because this was traumatic. This was traumatic to me. And I've had to
mhm,
work through that as well. But it's wild how your brain, to the very end, it's fighting for you. It's like, we don't want any of those memories anymore. We're going to take
mhm,
that from your brain. So, but yeah,
yeah.
you too,
I
Jim.
like what you said about friendships and setting up boundaries, and like understanding that maybe partial responsibility has to do with maybe us being the
Yeah,
problem too, of like
that was
maybe we
hard to
can't
admit.
see, right. And maybe we can't see, perceptually the other person's point of view. I think the thing that I came to realize, Adrienne, in my life is that there are two people that could actually come to a healthy compromise and try to understand a situation, right? And then you realize, as hard as those two people try, they just don't click with each other. There are just some people that just don't click with
Mm,
each other at all. And I agree. It's like really picking and choosing the people that you click with, that you can resonate with, that you feel community around and comfortable. Because I've tried that, right? I've tried really, really hard to be around people that I just didn't click with anymore, or I didn't resonate with anymore. And I did everything I could to keep those relationships around as well. One thing that I realized about friendships is you want to surround yourself with people who are like-minded like you, that you're allowed to be authentic and comfortable around. Uh,
mhm,
if there is energy that doesn't resonate or doesn't click, what I found is if you try to people please with somebody that you don't click with, it just makes them subconsciously resent you more, right? So it's good and it's healthy to have those boundaries of like, what am I doing, man? You know,
Mhm.
and just really being around people that support you, that understand you and everything that you stand for and your goals, your values, and the things that you want to accomplish in life. And sometimes that entails having a smaller friend group. Um, Sometimes, if you're lucky, it's a giant community like this, right? So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And this is definitely, thank you, Jay, for sharing that. But this is definitely something that we see a lot too, Junior, right? Like it's a phase
Mhm,
of recovery that's very uncomfortable because you go through this transformation and you know deep down, like you're going with your gut and you're like, I know things need to change, but I'm really scared. I'm really scared
mhm,
of change. And that's a whole nother level. It's a whole nother level up because once you unlock that level, but it takes courage. Each level you get to, you're going to have fear, but it takes courage to do it. And
mhm.
sometimes you have to take the leap, but yeah, it's definitely a journey. So I know we kind of got off topic there, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
very important. These things are not just like different unrelated topics that we're talking about. All of these things go into that core of dysregulated nervous system, how we've been behaving, what kind of environment we've been living in, who have we been surrounding ourselves with, what are our beliefs, what are our values, what are other people's values that we're trying to live within, right? That disaligns us with, or it gets us all jumbled up from our own authentic self, right? We start to not be able to make our own decisions and we second guess ourselves, which then stops the trust in ourselves and other people. It's a whole domino effect.
Mhm,
Um, and it takes some time. And I don't want to overwhelm all of you guys and go, I have so many problems. How am I going to start?
mhm,
Trust me, I had that thought too, but take it day by day, make it simple and take it as it comes. But just like Junior said, be proactive with it, with responding well, waking up during the day, really reflecting on your gratitude. Whatever happens this day, good or bad, I know I have confidence I can handle it. I can navigate this. Okay. So having that confidence in yourself is important too, to take it one step at a time.
Thank
So
you, Adrian.
all
That
we
was a
ask.
good topic. I
It's
like
all
that
we ask.
one.
Yeah. Don't feel like you got to do everything right now. It's all going to fall into place, but you have to trust the process.
Mhm,
You maybe don't have to believe 100% about this yet if you are new here with recovery, but trusting the process is very important. I didn't 100% believe this, didn't 100% believe everything Miguel was telling me, but I sure as heck trusted it.
absolutely.
And that's important.
Absolutely. That was a great topic, Adrian. I like that one a lot.
Junior, our talks are good. I don't even get to see Junior much anymore.
We're so busy.
I
Yeah.
know. So
Doing our own thing. We
you
don't even
guys,
get to talk much anymore. Well, that's not true. We talk every day, but like here and there, right? It used
yeah,
to be all the time.
we're
Yeah.
all so busy helping everybody, but you guys have amazing questions today,
Mhm.
amazing insights. What time is it? We still have about 30 minutes.
We can do it. Let's pull up another one here. We got Dorian De Michelle. I had a nightmare I was being experimented on. Dad too, with sharp objects. Scary. Woke up with pins and needles and pain and buzzing. Been buzzing, burning a lot in legs. What is that? Okay. So, yeah, let's talk about dreams and nightmares just for a
Mhm.
few minutes. Now, I want you to understand the purpose of dreams in the first place. And the purpose of dreams is pretty much for your brain just to process emotions that you felt either during the day or maybe the recent days and kind of acting like a file folder for those things. And as your brain processes those things through sleep, it uses the visualization centers of the brain to kind of portray those images that of which how you're feeling emotionally, right? So I don't want you to actually focus on the content visually that you see within your dreams because some people could say I saw a spider in my dream, what does that symbolize? I saw such and such in my dream, what does that symbolize? I don't care if it's a spider, I don't care if you're being abducted and experimented and probed on in a UFO. I don't care what it is, okay? But what's really important is paying attention to how you feel, okay? Emotionally. You want to pay attention to how the dream makes you feel. If you feel scared in that dream, it's your brain trying to process the emotion of you being scared and terrified at some point during the day. Um, Now, this could be a subconscious emotion that you felt. It might not even be a conscious thing, right? Your brain could be processing a subconscious emotion in the form of being really scared. I had a lot of nightmares going through recovery as well. But what does that say about me? What do my dreams emotionally are telling me about me is that a lot of my recovery, especially in the beginning when I had a lot of nightmares, were that I had a lot of subconscious fear about pretty much everything, expanding activity, introducing new foods, reintegrating back into life. I was processing a lot of subconscious fear. And that was what my brain was doing. So I kind of want you to see your dreams, how you feel emotionally, as simply just a feedback mechanism of your brain is just trying to process thoughts and emotions, and that's its way of doing it. So, Dorian, for you to tell me that you had this very specific dream that made you very scared, your brain's trying to process either conscious or subconscious emotions that you might have high levels of fear, either constantly or at certain points throughout the day, that we probably need to work on and gray out and rebalance, because that fear is probably being practiced in a really black and white or extreme way. Okay. So I hope that helps.
Mhm.
Adrian, did you have nightmares? Not specifically of this nature, but just in general.
The alien probing one? No.
No, 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 not the probing. Just like in general, did you have nightmares?
Yes, I had horrific, I don't want to use that kind of language, but like vivid dreams, vivid nightmares. Yeah. And it was weird because I don't think I ever really dreamt before I got sick. It was wild. I had a really, really bad nocturnal panic attacks too, where I'd wake up in my dream or in the middle of my nightmare with a racing heart. So like my nervous system was thinking I was there in the middle of the night, and it woke me up. So yeah. And then I had the burning legs, Dorian, all that, the buzzing. Felt like there was like a cell phone in my body, like vibrating, going off all the time and like everywhere, especially at night. When I was still, I could really, really feel it. But so very normal. But yeah, crazy dreams. I didn't know everything behind it, the science behind it that you just shared, Junior. So that was really, really amazing what you just shared.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely
Hope
a
that
thing.
gave you guys some clarity on
Yeah.
that one.
I had what was that? What's the sleep paralysis too? I had a lot of weird sleep things, and it's not a coincidence because when everything started to get crazy with my illness, all the sleep stuff started to get worse. So it's definitely your nervous system. Yeah.
What is your sleep paralysis demon, Adrienne? Because everyone has a different one.
Well, I remember like something choking me, like I couldn't
Oh,
breathe.
really?
I
It
couldn't.
wasn't a figure, it was, like, more of a feeling?
Yeah, it was just a feeling, and I was
Alright.
definitely like awake, and I couldn't move, I couldn't talk. Yeah, I couldn't breathe. It felt like it lasted forever, but it was probably only a couple seconds.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
My sleep
scary.
paralysis demon is Jack Harlow. So, if
Who's
you
that?
guys know who that is, he's a rapper. Yeah. Shout out Jack, man. If you end up watching this, bro, nothing personal, I'm just saying, dog.
I know Miguel said he had like something in this corner of his bedroom or something.
Mhm. Some
Something
kinda dark figure. We probably
scary.
shouldn't be talking about this if we don't
Yeah,
want this
no.
stuff to flare
I'm
up.
not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
Okay. Okay. How do you say this word, Adrienne? Because I say
He's gonna
tonight.
make fun of me, you guys. I say tinnitus, but I've been corrected with tinnitus. I've
Yeah,
heard
apparently
I've
it's
heard
tinnitus.
both. Yes. But yes, Kelly, yeah, really bad. I went to ENT specialist. I went to ear, nose, and throat doctor because my tinnitus was very bad. So it's definitely a symptom of the nervous system. And I honestly didn't have to do anything to target the symptom. I wore like those earplugs at night because it was really bad at night when it was quiet. It was hard for me to listen to music and anything. Like I remember putting dishes up in my kitchen or touching a dish, and if it like hit another dish, it was so loud. That was one of my first symptoms. And I didn't have to do anything to fix the symptom. It just fixed itself when my nervous system was regulated. But it's always a good idea to support that symptom by wearing some earplugs, something like that to dull the noise a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think that really helped me. It just supported it. But regulating my nervous system as a whole is what got it to go away. Don't no longer have it. Did you have it, Junior?
I did. I found it went away with me over time, just by me just simply not caring that it was there. But it never really bothered me in the first place. So.
And if it's one of the first symptoms, you guys, any of the first symptoms that come are usually going to be the last ones to leave. That was one of the first symptoms where I was like, this is weird. Everything just sounds so loud. Like it was like ear piercing. And then I had felt like there was like a butterfly in my ear, like a lot of weird ear stuff that made me go to the doctor. And that was one of the last ones to lift, but it will go away. Yeah.
Excellent. Let's go to Katie. So Katie asks, I have a bit of fear of heights and steep slopes. Any tips, please, so I don't panic? I'll be honest, Katie, this is one of these situations I'm still kind of black and white with this. With the heights thing specifically. I was literally with a friend the other day. And we were by some stairs that had no railing at the end. And I was like, oh God, I got to step away from the stairs. And my friend told me, it's all in your head, man. It's just perceived fear. And I'm like, so you're going to tell me if I fall, I don't die? No. And they're like, no, you will. I'm just saying, like, you're just overreacting. I'm like, yes, I'm overreacting because I'm 2 inches away from an actual real death. So this was a terrible answer to this question, actually. So, Adrianne, do you have a fear of heights or not?
I don't, Katie. I have it. Oh, no, I take that back because I didn't like flying, but I think it was more out of fear of loss of control or not being in control. I had a big fear of not being in control or not trusting my body. Like, yeah, actually, now that I'm talking more, I did, but it was only, it was only in situations where, like, if it was like a stare, like, I think it would come from like, I don't trust myself because I would have these like thoughts, these intrusive thoughts sometimes that would be like, what if I just stepped over that, right? Like I didn't trust myself. It was weird. I don't know. But if it's like a roller coaster or heights or something, I like that because I feel more safe and I'm in control. But a solution for this, Katie, is exposure over and over and over because I had a big fear of flying and I've flown probably like 5 times since I've been recovered. And it was just from exposing myself and responding well and telling myself, I trust the process, I'm safe, over and over and over. But if that's something that, you want to overcome, like if these things like being in a place where there's heights or steep slopes, if this is something that you're going to have to face in your life, then I'd make it a priority to expose yourself. But if it's not, or if it's keeping you from doing things that you want to do, then absolutely. But if it's not really getting in the way of your everyday life and you don't really care, it's a low priority, wouldn't really worry about it right now. But it's mainly exposure to something like that.
Awesome. Excellent, Adrianne.
Exposure and responding well over and over and over.
But I'm exposing myself to nothing. No way. Not me. I'm staying far. I don't even like going.
You live in Disney World. You go on roller coasters.
Disney World that's different. You have a seatbelt, right?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not afraid of that. Like if you go on any big ride, you strapped in. That's fine, right? I don't like being in situations where like if I slip on a banana peel or something and I fall, it's over for me. Like, no way. I don't like situations like that. You know what I'm saying? I've never slipped on a banana. I've never even seen anyone slip on a banana peel ever in my life.
That's like Mario Kart status.
Yeah. Nah, that's something I still probably have to work on with my black and white behaviors too. I don't even like being on the 3rd or 4th floor of a mall. Like I don't step too close to the edge of that. So
yeah.
What are we doing? Oh, here we go. How do I hide this? Okay. Ooh, you can do this one, Adrianne.
Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Okay, I feel like I lost stress resilience. Understand why hypersensitized, but what did your general self-talk sound like to help dial down the automatic heightened felt stress response felt in those moments? Pre all of this stress, with like 3 out of 10 and now 5 to 7. Okay, how do I give myself direction to help dampen that in general, such as no danger, it's okay, stress system to dial down? So I had a lot of different tools in my toolkit, a lot of different mantras. The first one, like the biggest one, was it's just my nervous system, and seeing and feeling that stress. So if you feel like it's going up, it's at like a 5 or 7 now, Lisa, then looking at that as a sign. It's nothing sinister, right? Nothing dangerous. That's a big thing too. That, like, hey, my stress levels are up a little bit. This is a message from my nervous system. Thank you, nervous system, because this is important. It's trying to tell me something. And what it's trying to tell me is it's telling me to calm down. It's telling me to de-stress. So it's not almost like fake it till you make it. We actually have to have mantras that actually calm us down. And the ones that helped me was saying, it's just my nervous system, over and over and over, and trusting that too, and looking at the stress response as like a friend, nothing bad, because I'd fear it. That's why it would bother me, because I'm like, here we go again. My nervous system's more stressed out. I feel like I have less capacity, and all the what ifs, right? I attached the stories to that. Am I ever going to get better now? Is this going to last forever? Blah, 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 blah. That was out of fear. So I just had to cut that off and say, my stress is high. It's okay. It's not permanent. It's going to come back down, but I need to put in the work right now. Like, I need to start getting my mindset more neutral and looking at this as a good message. It's nothing bad. So it's just my nervous system. I'm safe. I would actually distract myself a lot. I try to get my attention on other things at that time too, because I would want to go into fix it mode when I felt my stress going up, like, got to do my breath work, got to do this, got to do that, got to de-stress. And then sometimes that made it worse because I was just putting more tension on that. So I just had to say, it's okay. I trust that it'll go away. Let me focus my attention and the capacity that I have on something that I can do at this time to get my mind off of it. And then usually that brought down the stress. So there's different avenues you can take, saying the mantras, also getting your attention on something else, but definitely pulling back just a little bit if you're out of 5 or 7, not completely, but slowing down your activity and resting a little bit more. And remember, resting is not just physical, it's mental as well. So it's while you're resting, really trying to watch those thoughts and the ones that scare you, and say, it's just my nervous system. You're just here to scare me. I'm not listening to you right now.
Yeah. Excellent. Thank you, Adrianne. Appreciate that.
I like the stress system to dial down. I liked that, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, keep saying that. Yep.
Got a current thriver here in the program, Richard Bruning. Hello, Junior and Adrianne from Rochester, New York. Richard, welcome. We see you all the time. We love you, man. For those of you guys who don't know Richard, he actually got sick because he was physically running too much, mainly from gigantic groups of women that wouldn't leave him alone because he's just too handsome for his own good. So shout out, Richard. We're helping you.
I know Richard's laughing right now. I wish I could see his face.
Shout out, Richard. I'm trying my best. I wish I could go over there and like physically pull the women off of him, but for now I'm trying to coach it digitally. It's very difficult, but shout out, Richard. You're a very strong man for doing that. All right.
So happy you're here, Richard.
Good to see you,
I don't know
man.
how you put up with him.
Let's see here. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Olga is in the house as well. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Olga's here. Hi, Olga. Miss you, Olga.
Olga is here. I'm going to highlight this one. Allie says, this is very helpful. I like what Jane said. I think this is in regards to something you said, Adrianne.
Being okay.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Perfect. We make that up in our head, right? It's our own expectation. So
that's right. Oh, good golly, Miss Molly. Here comes trouble. We got Nina in the house.
Nina.
Hello, girl. How are ya? How are ya? For those of you who are interested in joining Recovery Academy, Nina is the main attraction. So
Love it.
very, very funny. Let's see here. We have another Nina as well, giving you feedback,
Oh, thank you, Nina.
Adrianne.
That's a beautiful picture of is that a horse? I love
Oh,
horses.
it is a horse.
Thank you,
Excellent.
Nina.
All right. Let's see. Ooh, Clemmy has some great feedback. I didn't even know what masking meant until I joined the program. Now I question not only my own masking, but I also see my children and loved ones doing it. It's eye-opening. It is. Adrian, do you notice Steven doing it sometimes?
Yes. I mean, going through this whole
She said yes
journey,
so fast.
not just yes, definitely my husband, but
Yeah.
going through this whole journey, it's hard not to. It's like I have to get myself in check sometimes because I'm like, oh, they're on the orange of the triangle, like the polyvagal triangle. They're in the yellow. They're in the red. They're in the like. I'm like, I got to shut this down right now. I got to give my brain a break. But yes, the average person is masking, is dysregulated. They're unaware. They're living the life that we were living. But we are grateful enough. We're lucky enough to be going through this where we're now aware, we're awakened now. I was asleep my whole freaking life. Now I'm awake to what is going on and the things that are going on around me. But yeah, definitely Clemmy, for sure.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Here's a nugget from Olga right here for you, Adrianne.
I love that. Love that thought. A lot of your advice earlier was to put certain relationships on pause. Yes, Olga. Yep. It's tough. It was tough. And especially not just like relationships of the people who like live near me, but also like virtually, like online. Before I found Miguel, I was talking to a lot of people that were sick like me, that had CFS and a lot of other symptoms, and they weren't in this program. And everything that I was learning, I was just relaying the message. I was like playing telephone. I was like, hey, this is what I learned today. Try this, it's working for me. And it just, they weren't hearing it. And I remember just getting really, really frustrated. And they'd be like reaching out to me every single day. So I had to really set them aside and say, listen, like my priorities are to get better. And I'll come back when I'm a little bit more regulated, but I need a little bit of a break just from social media, because I could tell my brain I was sending mixed messages to my brain. I was learning so much on these calls, and then I was going right back to these Facebook groups where people who were really struggling, and it was just awakening all of these negative pathways in my brain. So I had to put up those boundaries even with that, and that was difficult because I had a hard time saying no to people because I was fearful of what they would think. So it started very early on. I made a promise that I'm gonna put all my eggs in one basket when it came to recovery, and I had to be selfish. But honestly, you guys, it's not selfish. I think it's selfish to mask, and I think it's selfish to people please, because you're doing it out of, I think, selfishly, because you don't want them to perceive you in a certain light, right?
That's spot on.
So, and I didn't know that. I just would think like, I'm not going to say no because that's selfish, because they're going to think like I have better things to do. But me actually doing something I don't want to do, or talking to somebody I don't want to talk to, that's doing them a disservice, because I'm not showing up I'm not showing up my authentic self. I'm showing up in a mask and a lie. But going off track there. But yes, Olga.
Good to see you, Olga. Good to see you. Look at
No,
that
thank you.
profile picture. Is
We're
that your husband?
killing it. I think you're coming. I think she's coming to the retreat.
Yeah. Oh, you should bring your husband, Olga, if you're coming to the retreat. Look, he looks so tall. Okay. Let's see here.
Beautiful picture.
Beautiful. Got Doherty 04808 is sweating at night, also a step of nervous system and recovery. I also have nightmares. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweating for sure. I
Oh
was
my
Sweats
God.
McGee when I had to have a backup shirt when I went to sleep sometimes. It's like, when you wake up from a fever dream after you gotten sick and you're like totally covered in sweat. It's like that's what it felt like for me, because that's what it was.
Yeah. I don't think we forget how important these calls are, Junior, or what you just said. I would have paid probably thousands. Oh, I did thousands of dollars. I take that back. Thousands of dollars to hear what you just said, because I spent so much money. This was one of my biggest symptoms, you guys. It was one of my first symptoms. I was soaked. Like I've never sweated through the night. Only when I was like sick, and I was rarely sick. I rarely had like fevers or anything. And it was so bad. I had to change my clothes like 3 times in the middle of the night. I was shivering, but I was hot at the same time. I had to get in the shower in the middle of the night. I was just a mess. And I would go to the doctor and I'm like sweating profusely at night. Like something's wrong. Like I was scared I had like cancer or something scary. And they were like, that's not normal. Like, we need to go get you tested and the thyroid and all this stuff. And that's not good. And they just scared the crap out of me. And then I was put through all these tests, which I understand, like, they want to make sure nothing else is going on. But I didn't have one doctor say, maybe it's just like some stress in the middle of the night, or like some stress that's going on in your life. So what you just said, Junior, is it's priceless. Honestly, it really is.
Thank you. Yeah,
It really is.
I was big sweaty McGetty. That's what I was. And here's the thing. It actually flipped to the other side at one point during recovery where I couldn't sweat at all.
Oh, me
well.
too. Me too.
For you too, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. That's wild.
Overheating, temperature dysregulation, like it was all whack.
Mm-hmm.
So off. And it's definitely real. I remember I'd be standing outside in the winter. It doesn't get too cold here, but my body wouldn't even shiver. It was not even it didn't even have energy to make me shiver, to generate some heat. And so I was extra, extra cold. But they're definitely real symptoms, you guys, and it does get better. All of my temperature issues are all regulated. Same with Junior. So hang in there. It's definitely a symptom. Yeah.
Right. We got Ina once again. This is now a banana skin slipping support group. That's what this is. Ooh, this is a good question right here, Adrianne. Are all personality traits fear-based? Well, here's the thing. Whenever we go into all or nothing, there's probably some lack of truth in it. It's always in the middle. The answer is always balanced, right? So I wouldn't say all personality traits are fear-based, but I would say a good chunk are, right? You can't swing to one extreme or another, because if I say all, there's going to be a group that comes after me and says, well, I don't agree. And if you say none, there's going to be a group that says, I don't agree. If you say some, yeah, people are going to agree, because at the end of the day, that's the truth, right? For the majority of personality traits that we see now, specifically in the program for us, because we work with a specific niche group of people, it's a good majority of it, right? A good majority of it. But if we're talking about all personality traits being fear-based, no, I wouldn't say so. What about you, Adrianne?
I agree, Junior. But we have to think too, when we have these symptoms, when we have CFS, we're dysregulated. We're in our fight or flight more than our logic. So a lot of our actions or behaviors are coming from that part of the brain, coming from that fight or flight, coming from the amygdala. So the way we respond and behave and act, it's our personality, right? Yeah, then that's more going to be, not everything, but the majority of them. But once your nervous system is regulated, it starts your intentions with why you're doing things, like your behavior, your actions. Those things start to come from a place of want and being aligned with yourself. So that's not based out of fear. It's actually coming from in embracing both sides of like seeing the good and seeing the bad, and why we're making decisions we're making. And whatever decision that we make, there's always a good side. So the fear is going to go down if we think that way. And I don't want to get too deep with that, but yeah, the majority of the personality traits and the way we behave is coming from a place of fear. But we have to remember too that our brain only has it has two jobs. It's to keep us safe, and it's to reproduce. Like that's what we humans do. That's the main two things that our brains are here for. And with a fight or flight, we want to go towards safety and away from pain, right? So retreating from pain, closer to safety, that's our behaviors usually. So, I mean, this is a really good question because I could keep going and I could probably argue that, yeah, like probably the majority of the way we behave is based, like, we want to be safe. Everything we do is going more towards a safety than not, because that's an innate, it's in our nature. We're not going to just go walk off a cliff, right? It's our brains are going to say no subconsciously and want us to go retreat towards safety. So that personality of being fearful of certain things is out of safety, right? So yeah. I mean, very good question. I haven't gotten that. I haven't asked that question before.
Yeah, I like that question. And just like that, Adrianne, we're out of time.
What?
So, thank you guys for allowing us to come on here and babble and have conversation with you and tell stories.
You guys are awesome.
It's
You guys
always
make
feels like a family event, huh? It's
yeah.
always like a little reunion get together because we don't get to do this all the time, but when we do, it's always a good time, right?
Mhm.
So thank you guys so
Yes,
much
thank
for
you,
coming on
everybody.
here, participating. Thank you, Adrianne. You have any closing statements before we wrap
No, I
this
mean,
one up?
just don't give up, you guys. Keep going. Don't look back. Don't look in the rear view mirror. Going backwards, that kind of language does not exist. Just keep moving forward. You guys are the strongest people I know. I don't really think there's stronger people than this. So keep going. Don't give up. And thank you for being here and spending your time and making your health a priority, because
Yes.
actions speak louder than words. So for you guys here right now, you really mean business, and that's what it takes. We have to have this be number one priority to get better. So
Yeah. You
awesome.
guys are incredible. Thank you guys so
Thank you
much.
for being here.
Take care.
Awesome call.
Have
All
a
right.
good
Bye,
rest of your
guys.
day, everyone. Okay. Bye-bye.